Hi everyone. For a long time, medieval music used only four pairs of modes: the authentic Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, and Mixolydian modes, and their plagal forms, Hypo-Dorian, Hypo-Phrygian, etc. This terminology is used today. However, during the Middle Ages, the equivalent modes were typically labelled as follows. Each mode pair shares the same final. Whether an authentic or plagal label is assigned depends on the location of the mode's melody to its final. Use of the authentic label, for example, indicates the mode's melody is located mostly or completely above its final, and a plagal label indicates all or the majority of a mode's melody is located below. Here, for example, the mode is hypomixolydian as its range extends below its G final. Another important note is a mode's reciting tone or tenor, which is different for authentic and plagal forms. As its name suggests, this note is used for reciting text and is a significant part of the structure of psalm tones. Especially used for singing the psalms of the daily offices, in performance, psalm tones are typically framed by an antiphon, a verse or sentence with its own melody. Psalm tones are a set of 8 melodic formulas, one for each mode pair, and a ninth tone, the so-called tonus peregrinus. While the 8 psalm tones each use the same reciting tone as their respective mode, the tonus peregrinus contains 2 reciting tones, one on A and the other on G. The tonus peregrinus is typically used with antiphons such as Nos qui vivimus, which contain certain melodic contours and which are often called modulating antiphons. All psalm tones follow the same structure, which is seen here in a format used by many modern textbooks. Although this format shows the psalm tone's basic structure, several alterations can occur depending on the text being used. For example, the flex is only included if the text is unusually long. The reciting tones, shown here as single open note heads, are in practice repeated to accommodate the syllables of the relevant text, and extra notes shown here in brackets can be included where required. There is also typically several optional cadential notes to conclude the termination. These alternate notes, called differentiae, are selected depending on the antiphon's beginning note and are used to create a seamless connection between the psalm tone and antiphon. This antiphon, because it concludes on G and its melody is entirely above that note, is in the authentic Mixolydian mode, mode 7. It's paired therefore with the 7th psalm tone, which may conclude on C, but which here uses a differentia ending on A, so to lead smoothly back to the initial G of the antiphon. In performance, the intonation is only used with the first verse of the psalm text, with all other verses beginning on the D note of the reciting tone. This psalm has 12 verses, but here I've included only 5. To accommodate the longer text of verse 4, a flex would be used to divide the initial part in two. Here also extra notes are used for some of the verses, and their quantity and those of the reciting tones can be increased or decreased depending on the amount of syllables to be sung. For example, verse 1 here includes more text than verses 2 and 3. After the 12 verses completed, the antiphon would again be sung, concluding with the doxology. As was typical, here the final words are indicated by these letters representing the sounds of the vowels in Saeculorum Amen. I hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching. See you next time.